Hello Year 6 and welcome to Friday's literacy lesson. Happy Friday and happy half term as well. So after today you have got a week off your home learning videos, which I'm sure some of you will be really pleased about. Well done for yesterday's work. Some absolutely brilliant answers based on author intention on Pig Heart Boy. I hope you enjoyed reading the text. So a big well done for me and a big well done for all of this half term's hard work. You have been amazing sending your work in. So a huge well done from me. Now, as it is Friday, we are working out of our writing book today. So today's learning question is, can I proofread and correct writing? So as I said, we're in the writing book and it's page 8 that we are looking at. So it is this one here. So proofreading your work. So after you've finished editing a piece of work, you then need to proofread it. Now proofreading means looking for mistakes. So it's making sure that all of your spellings are correct, your punctuation is correct, and your grammar is correct. So your sentences all make sense. So proofreading is a really important part of the writing process. So we're going to be having a look at that today. Now you will notice in your writing book, you've got a piece of writing to proofread. So it's a letter and you've got to circle each mistake and write the correction above it. Okay, so we're going to do a little example of that first before you get into your book. But also there's a couple of bits that I just want to talk about. Now the main thing, and it's something I see a lot as a mistake, is apostrophes. So I just want to talk about how apostrophes are used and the different uses of them and where there can be some mistakes, because there's a few of these today and I really want you to think about them. So the first use of an apostrophe is to show that something belongs to somebody. So it shows that that is their belonging. So for example, this one, the boy's shoes. So the shoes belong to the boy. Okay, so the shoes belong to the boy. So the apostrophe goes before the S. So that shows that that pair of shoes belong to him. Now the second one I want to have a look at here for possession is the girls' changing room. Now, that's not just one girl that changing room is for. It's for all of the girls. Like when we go swimming, we have a girls' changing room and a boys' changing room. So girls is the plural of girl. So that means there's more than one girl. And the changing room belongs to all of them. So this time the apostrophe would go after because it belongs to all of the girls. It's okay. So then the final one, so the dog's tail. So you're talking about one dog because we've only got one tail. So it's the dog's tail. The tail belongs to the dog. So that's one use of an apostrophe. Now, if I just go back to this example at the top, the boy's shoes, this word here, some people sometimes do this. So they think just because a word ends in an S, it needs an apostrophe, and that's not always the case. This one is a plural. Okay, nothing belongs here to the shoe, so it doesn't need an apostrophe. So just be careful that you're not just putting apostrophes before the end. Sorry, not just putting apostrophes because the word ends in an S. It's got to be for one of these reasons that we are discussing. So the first one is to show something belongs to somebody. So if it's just one person, so the boy's shoes or the dog's tail, it goes before the S. If there's more than one person, so like the girls' changing room, it goes after. So that's one use of an apostrophe. So the next main use of apostrophe is for contraction. That's when we've got two words and we've put them together, and the apostrophe goes where the missing letters would have been. So if I look at these, I'm going to do two together, then you're going to pause the video, see if you can do the other two in your purple book. So I've got must not and shall not. Okay, so must not and shall not. So I've got must not. So here I'm going to make this into mustn't. So it's mustn't. Okay, now I've got to think about where the first letter has been missed out. Okay, so here, the O has been missed out. So that's where my apostrophe will be. Okay, mustn't. So it goes there where the letter O would have been. Shall not then. Now it's not shalln't. Okay, now I know it's tempting to put that because it follows the pattern, but it's not shalln't. So shall not becomes shan't. I shan't help you. And again, the O is missing, so that's where I'm going to put my apostrophe. So what I would like you to do now is I'd like you to pause the video and have a go at could have and do not, and put in the apostrophe where you think the missing letters have started. So pause the video now and have a go at those two. Okay, so you should have had a little go at those. So could have becomes could have. Sometimes people think it's could have, but it's could have for could have. Okay, so the H and the A are missing there, so that's where the apostrophe goes. And then do not becomes don't. Okay, so the D's there, the O's there, the N's there, and then the O is missing there. So that's where your apostrophe goes. So you've got possession and contraction then are your first main reasons for using an apostrophe. They're the only reasons really, but I want to look at one word that doesn't follow this pattern to help you out today. So it. Okay, so it doesn't follow this pattern. So it's for belonging. So for example, it wagged its tail for a dog. That doesn't have an apostrophe. So if it is used to show something belongs to a thing, then it doesn't use an apostrophe. If it is for it is, then it does use an apostrophe. So the best way when you're trying to figure out whether it needs an apostrophe or not is to say it is in the sentence. So for example, this first one, it's a beautiful day outside. So if I take the it and I say it is a beautiful day outside, yeah, that still makes sense, doesn't it? So it would go in there. So it's a beautiful day. It is, and remember it's with an apostrophe means it is. So the car needs its tyres changing. Okay, so if I'm not sure, I could read that out and imagine that that's it is. So the car needs it is tyres changing. That doesn't make sense, does it? So that one is showing belonging. And because of the it's rule, that doesn't need an apostrophe. So the dog was wagging its tail. So, maybe if I'm not sure, the dog was wagging its tail. No, that doesn't make sense. So that doesn't need an apostrophe because that's showing it belongs. And then finally, it's getting late, we must be going. So it is getting late, we must be going. Yeah, that makes sense. So with the word it's, the apostrophe is used for it is. If it just shows belonging, there's no apostrophe. Apostrophes are really confusing. That's why I wanted to go over that before we go into proofreading. So, finally then, this is a little activity for you. So I want you to pause the video and I want you to decide whether these words that I've put in blue, so you've got the sun's out, so suns is in blue. They fetch their coats is in blue. We wrote stories at school, stories is in blue. The dog needed its lead on, its is in blue. We don't want to go outside today, don't is in blue. So I want you to pause the video and decide, so you could just number them. So you can put numbers and put yes or no next to them. And decide whether you think it needs an apostrophe or not. So you could just put yes or no. So number one, yes or no. So pause the video now and have a go at those 5 sentences. Okay, so you should have had a look at those. So this one, the sun's out. Now that S there is to say the sun is out. So actually, a letter has been missed there for contraction. That was a little sneaky one. So they fetch their coats. Coats is just a plural. It doesn't need an apostrophe. So just because it ends in S, it doesn't need an apostrophe. We wrote stories at school. Again, it's just a plural. There's no letters been missed out. It doesn't belong. We just wrote the stories. That just means more than one has been written. The dog needed its lead on. So, if I'm not sure, remember, its is a tricky one. So the dog needed it is lead on. Oh no, that doesn't make sense. So that one doesn't need an apostrophe. So we should have had yes, no, no, no. And then we don't want to go outside today. So don't is contracted for do not. That would need an apostrophe there. So that is a yes. That one does need an apostrophe. So apostrophes, like I say, is a tricky one. And there are a few today that you need to look at in the proofreading. So really be careful. So proofreading today then, you have got a piece of text in your workbook where you have got to find mistakes and correct them. So we're going to go through a few examples together on the board so that you know exactly what you have got to do. So I've got a little bit of text here and I'll do the first sentence and then we'll do a couple together. So I'm going to look for, remember, spelling. So if words are spelt correctly, punctuation. So if capital letters, full stops, apostrophes, all of the punctuation is used correctly. And also the grammar. So if the sentences make sense, if the correct verbs have been used. So I'm looking for all of those things when I am proofreading my piece of text. So I need to read through each sentence really, really carefully. So I've got Russell stop for a moment. Oh, straight away that doesn't quite make sense. I'm going to use a different colour. So I've got to work out where it doesn't make sense. So Russell stop for a moment. It's the verb stop. So I'm going to circle that and I'm going to write above it the correction. So it should be stopped. Let me check it makes sense. So Russell stopped for a moment. That's much better. I'm so sorry, he stammered. I didn't mean to offend. Now, I've spotted an apostrophe straight away there, here, because that's contracted. I am contracted to I'm. So I've got an apostrophe where the A would have been. Stammered. I wonder if you can work out why stammered is incorrect. So it should be an ed ending. So that should be stammer and then ed at the end. So really little spelling mistake there. I didn't, so didn't has also got an apostrophe missing, mean to offend. It's just I've never seen an else before. Now, I've remembered that it's can be a tricky one. So I'm going to have a look. It's just it is, oh yes, that should be it. I've never seen an elf before. At this, the little person, when then it's got Russell's a name. So Russell should have a capital letter there. Had not yet decided if it was male or female. Chocked with laughter. I think there's a mistake there because chocked isn't a word. I think that should be choked. So that's another spelling mistake. So choked with laughter. Okay, so you can see how I've circled the mistakes and put the corrections, either putting the apostrophes in or I've circled it and then put the correction next to it or above it. So I'm going to just put this down a little bit. I'm going to ask you to pause it. Sorry, I've got a bit too far there. So I'm going to ask you to read up to excitement here. So pause it and see if you can find any mistakes. You don't need to write it all out. That will take you too long. You can just jot down the mistakes and then when I can go through them, you can see if you spotted them. Okay, so pause the video now and see if you can spot any mistakes. Okay, so let's have a look then. So I've got an elf. That's rich coming from a giant. There again is the missing apostrophe. I'm no elf, and again, I'm a human. But so am I, exclaimed Russell. He was in quite a state of excitement. I think that was all that was there then, but we'll read a little bit further on, just so that we've definitely got the idea of what we're looking for. So we've got up to excitement. Okay, so if you pause the video, have a little read, see if you can spot, remember it's spelling, punctuation and grammar that you are looking for. Okay, so you should have had a little look then. I'm so excited. It was quite, this were the best Monday morning he's had in years. This were the best Monday morning. That doesn't really quite make sense, does it? I think it's this word here. So this were the best Monday. I think that should be was. This was definitely, that makes much more sense. The best Monday morning he's had in years. And a human being for definite. Did anyone spot this one? Definite is one of those spellings that causes trouble. So circle it and write the correction. So definite. So how can you be one as well? The elf looked at him disdainfully. Disdainfully means like scornfully, like, oh yes, well if you're human, why are you so massive? So I'm going to ask you then, oops, to just do one last little bit and then you can go on to your work today. Okay, so pause the video now, see if you can spot any mistakes in this little bit here. Okay, so, oh yes, well if you're human, why are you so massive? It's, well, oh, so there's it's. Let's just check that it's has been used correctly. Remember, it's can be it is, then it would have an apostrophe. If it's belonging, then it wouldn't. So it is well known. Yeah, I think that definitely needs an apostrophe. That the Earth's gravity, now here, Earth's gravity, so the gravity belongs to Earth, so it needs an apostrophe, would prevent anyone from growing as tall as you. And it's, again, that's been used incorrectly, far more efficient to be my size, regular human size. Okay, so I think that you get the idea now. So go through each sentence slowly and carefully and look for mistakes. Okay, so all that's left is, so please make sure today is Friday, so you should be doing your spelling test either on a little piece of paper, which would be good this week because you've got to work out each of the meanings, or you can do it on Edgehead and send a picture. So it'd be great to see your spelling tests this week. Really looking forward to seeing your work in your workbooks, but mainly have a lovely, lovely half term. Stay safe, and I'm looking forward to seeing you back online in a week's time after you've had a little rest. Home learning can be super, super tough, but you have met the challenge amazingly, and I am proud of all of you that have worked so hard, and it has been an absolute pleasure to read all of your work. So enjoy your week off. You'll see me again on YouTube when we are back after half term, and I am looking forward to seeing you all then.